Welcome to Debbie Podcast. Thank you for come to me. In the early days apart, her friendship with him was a long phone call with seemingly endless stories. His new environment, new world, and it's an interesting story to share, sincere, simple, warm with so many surprises and new things. Only 22 kilometers apart, but it is still difficult to meet each other. At that time, he was very afraid. He was afraid of the word. Out of sight, out of mind. But really, those days were the days when he knew he was the luckiest person in the world. The further apart, the more he and it care about each other. Something interesting, funny, even pranks in the new class, he also told it. Having received the documents, he also sent it. Especially his first essay, which he worked with him on a computer screen, even though they were dozens of kilometers apart. He remembers so many times in the past, he stood shoulder to write an essay together when they were in the same class, at the same school. There is nothing more fun than being with the people you love, waiting for each other, sending each other every word, working together even though the dew has covered the night sky in both distant places. When he's sick, when he's sad, he finds it to share. It's really happy, that's all I wish. It doesn't need him to be by her side all the time, as long as when he's sad, lonely or something, he remembers someone who always looks up to him and waits for him. With it, being cared for, helping him need is more than enough. Friendship is as beautiful as a dream, it promises itself to try to cherish it, because it is so afraid that he will leave it. But dreams have to wake up one day. Everything seemed to be going well, but suddenly he cut off all contact with it, not saying a word anymore. It tried to contact him, but he was just cold that he didn't know anything, he was busy, that it was bothering him. Helpless, tormented because he didn't know what he did wrong, lonely because no one was around, pain when thinking about his every voice, smile, every promise. It cried, only cried. Crying because she was upset, because she didn't know what she did wrong. She cried because after all he still left her and never gave her a reason as a final respect. He cried a lot, but no one knew. At that time, he was very lonely, he had to cope with many problems alone when his support and belief finally disappeared. It turned out that it had depended on him for so long. He really abandoned it, but why? How many times, it was heartbreaking to cry alone because of him. Painful, lonely because of the feeling of being abandoned. But why is it still waiting? It waits for the day he returns, simply because of all the faith it has for him. It believes he will return and he will still be the old man, smiling with him, caring for him, confiding, sharing his joys and sorrows with him alone. What about in the end? He also returned, as promised the other day, but today, he came back, laughing with someone. How happy he was, no longer paying attention to his tired eyes that were still full of tears.